Good evening, everybody. It's Ian Blackburn. It's time for Zoom into Wine. 7 o'clock on Wednesday. We've got an incredible lineup of not only guests tonight, but
Good evening, everybody. It's
oh,
Ian Blackburn. It's time
forget
for
about
Zoom into Wine. 7 o'clock on Wednesday.
There we go. Recording now on YouTube, and YouTube likes to play it right back to us with a little delay. So if you're out there and you can't get on our Zoom into Wine broadcast, you can go to YouTube to our Merchant of Wine channel, and you can watch from YouTube live. Well, 7 seconds behind, apparently. But thank you guys for being here. We've got a lot to cover with some really important wines, and I know why you guys joined us tonight because it's quite a spectacle. We're calling it the Collectible Cab Night, and I want to take you through it. Got a couple of people that got the bottle kits and a couple of tasting kits as well. All right, now we can get started. Again, my name is Ian Blackburn, and welcome to Zoom into Wine. This is a weekly gathering where we taste some amazing wines together with some fantastic people. And I want to thank you guys all for joining us. I don't want to waste anybody's time. We're going to get right into the lineup of collectible Cabernets. That's our subject this week. And let me see if I can get my face to stop disappearing as I speak. Nothing more distracting than have your own face disappear. All right, there we go. That should work a little better. No, not yet. We'll fix it later. All right, we're going to go into wine number one because I obviously need to my first drink of the day. We're going to get started with a wine that I want to introduce you to. I'm hoping that I am the first person to put into your glass From the Sky Down. This is a brand out of Washington that I think we're all going to be excited about in the future. I believe this is their first vintage. They make three different Cabernets. That's all they really make. This one is from the Connor Lee Vineyard. Let's find out what all that's about. We're up in the Columbia Valley in Washington that is contiguous into Oregon. So if you're making wine up here and you're using Oregon grapes, you can call it an Oregon wine. If you're up here and you're using, or down there and you're using Washington wine grapes, you can call it a Washington wine. They allow for that because this wine region stretches across the state line. So there's a lot of cooperation. You also have Walla Walla kind of crossing over Oregon and into Washington. There'll be some Walla Walla wines coming in the future on our Zooms. Take a look at that, the Rocks District. That's quite an amazing spot, and it actually falls on the Oregon side. It's like something like 300 feet deep of nothing but huge round stones and almost no soil at all. And they're growing grapes in in this place called the Rocks District. Anyway, that's a subject for another time. Today we are in the Columbia Valley tasting a single vineyard wine called From the Sky Down. Dig this bottle, and I was pretty interested in it from just the look of the bottle. I thought, that's they got some ideas there that I like. It's very fun. And Todd Anderson, who's been a winemaker that I've really come to like. I carry a lot of his Halocene wines. Um, I also carry the Force Majeure wines in the store, and then I found out that Todd makes both. And then I found out he makes this wine, and then my interest grew even a little bit more. Todd was the winemaker at Bryant Family in the Napa Valley. He knows what to do with some really good high-end fruit. Connor Lee was a source of this vintage's grapes, and it was established in the 1980s as 145 acres of vines. Now, Washington wines, I think, have kind of one foot in our New World and 1 foot in something like a Bordeaux because they kind of straddle the two styles, a little um, firmer, more resonance, more acidity, that structure, a little less creamy and fat and juicy. But Todd has a way of coaxing some of that into the wines of Washington. And so I really love what he's done here. I'm gonna have you guys smell and taste this wine with me here. It's 95% Cabernet and 5 Merlot. And as we would describe it, that's purple. That's purple and pretty damn dark. The perfume on this wine is really, really fascinating. I love the style here, I will be honest. Get a little bit of spice and some really cool melange of black fruits, plum skin, some really wonderful stuff. Some cacao, some chocolate, espresso. Cabernet, from a definition standpoint, you can take a look at these slides as we go through the show tonight. I'll always throw up the definitions just to really get us deeper into the textbook, what the textbook says about Cabernet, black currant, definitely. Hopefully you're just coming in from someplace and you're just getting yourself settled, and this is your first wine of the day because this is a very good day when this is the first wine of your day. Mm. I just love the way that thing hits my nose. It's not so too ripe. There's a wonderful energy here. It's got kind of a crispy cherry skin. There's definitely some fleshiness. My mouth is getting prepared. It's watering for the high acidity that we're about to experience. All right, Stephanie, you and your husband are having some short ribs tonight with a cheesy polenta. That sounds delicious. Thanks, Brian. Haluke Slope, is that how I pronounce that? I don't know if you can come on and tell me, Brian. Wahl, Haluk. Yeah, me either, Brian. I'm sorry. Thanks for letting me know. Waluk, maybe? Waluk. How about that? I like that. Waluk Slope. Yes. And that is a landmark AVA for this location. If you look at the back label, it just says Columbia Valley, and in fact defines it as being produced and bottled from the sky down in Walla Walla, Washington. But as we saw on the map, that's probably more where the winemaking facility is. And then this particular vineyard designation is inside the Columbia Valley, inside of the Waluk Slope. So thank you for your attention to detail. Here is the 99 point review that the wine just got from a gentleman who's up and rising called Owen Bargren. And he has been doing some good work. Salty soils, ultra refined tannins, and a lengthy finish complete this beautiful wine that drinks marvelously right now. And let's do it. I'm not going to be spitting tonight. Feel the length as that thing fans out. There's this wonderful balance, texture, great concentration. Those tannins are obvious, but really wonderfully kind of caressing this wine. And the length and the um, consistency and tenacity and persistence of the acid in that length is really a wonderful quality mark. And this wine is definitely worthy of that 99 point score. Every time I taste it with people, they're like, wow, I haven't heard of that before. How do I get some? We have it. And we are good friends with these guys now. And we are looking forward to selling as much as we can of this wine because I don't think a lot of people in California are trying to sell wines of Washington. And that's a challenge for Washington. I mean, we make enough Cabernet to flood California with Cabernet. So bringing in a wine from Washington, it needs to be something special. This is it. And I really think that to our friends up in Napa and Sonoma, if you haven't tried this wine yet, I highly recommend it because this could really cause you to scratch your head a little bit and go, that's pretty damn interesting. This was a real revelation for me. I really loved it, and I've been having a lot of fun with this particular item. Look at the Merlot site. You can see that sand in the soil. This is $209, 210 bucks. And website says we have 4 there. I'm not sure what we have today. That may be true, but I do have the ability to get as much as we would like. So hurt me, go for it. If you like the wine, I love it. I think it's going to be a real treasure. This is kind of a new animal for us. Yeah, I agree with you, Brian. Really well balanced, which I think is, also kudos to Todd, the winemaker, for pulling in all this detail, this texture, this intensity. You got some vine age, you got some great concentration of fruit, and really putting together a spectacular bottle of wine. I have yet to try the other single vineyards from the Sky Down, but if it's not broken, don't fix it. I found Connerly Vineyard. I fell in love. Don't need 2 of them. I'm going to stay true to this one until it's gone and I have no other choices. Moving into wine number 2, and I'm feeling so much better already. That was really beautiful way to start. I will say the inspiration tonight was to be able to taste side by side some different sites, some different high caliber efforts. Excuse me. And to taste from some different hands. There are some great names in the wine business, names that when their name is involved in the wine project, you can automatically raise your expectations. Um, there are no repeats tonight. That was Todd Anderson's wine in wine number 1. We're going to wine number 2, made by Thomas Rivers Brown, a real successful guy making some great wines. He's been doing it a long time. One if not the highest scoring winemaker in Napa. I may say that several times tonight. Maybach, that sounds familiar. This is the family of the Maybach, inventor of many things. I believe the motorcycle. I believe parts of the automobile, motor, etc. Mercedes gave them new life, creating the Maybach brand. The family is still out there. Part of it lives in the Napa Valley. And they hired Thomas Rivers Brown to make these beautiful Maybach wines. I now carry quite a few of them. They make a fantastic Pinot, and they make a couple levels of Cabernet. We are in the Napa Valley, 16 sub-appellations on the map here. I believe a new one just came in right underneath Howe Mountain, so I might have to change that to say 17. I think that's correct. So this is Chris Maybach, who started the brand in 2004. And we're working with a couple of different sources here on Vineyard. But this for the brand, that is, but this is a single hillside vineyard above Silverado Trail. Let's see. For 100 years, the name Maybach has been synonymous with quality at the finest level and the tradition of an artistry of craftsmanship of our forefathers, Wilhelm and Karl Maybach, honored this handmade wine with a family-run winery. 100% Cabernet. Notes of cassis, blackberries, grilled bread, creosote, and spring flowers. Again, the markers of Cabernet Sauvignon, black currant, here's a picture of Thomas. 97 points, Jeb Dunnick. These things are beautifully dark, purple, dense, concentrated. There's an energy emitting from the top of this glass, really pure fruited. I think that the fact that this is coming from single site, the fact that this is 100% Cabernet, the fact that Thomas is working with it. Wow. That thing is just off the chain. This has a lot of energy, a lot of concentration, a lot of richness. As I'm talking to you, I'm feeling the layers just continuing to peel off of my tongue, off my palate. Incredible length. Really pretty. Tannins are there, but they're quite enjoyable. They're not punishing, although this is still a young wine. It's in a fun spot. You can really taste that delicious richness and that cassis. Super, super focused, really beautiful, very singular on the fruit. It's got this really nice purity to it. And some other nuances in the review from Jeb I'd like to point out. Spicy, floral, incense, orange blossom, gravelly earth-like aromas. I think those are all wonderful complexities. This is just a spectacular cab. Let's see what some folks are saying in the chat. I'd love to go ahead and get your comments in there. You guys can all share. How long can Cabernet age for? Example, Lisa has a 2016 Hurt Lindy cab. Okay. everyone likes to drink their Cabernet in a different state. Um, and what I mean by that is that, this wine that we just tried, very youthful, very fresh, fruited. So somewhere around year 5 starts to melt together a little bit. I think at this phase, this wine's got this wonderful fleshy, bright fruit, and then everything else is kind of all over the place, and it's still got this wonderful coming together moment. And it takes about 5 years for that to occur. The next 5 years, you start to see some secondary characteristics start to appear where that vanilla that was in the wood and the that all those tannins and stuff start to really kind of melt together with everything else, and you get these more complex characteristics, and that length starts to really matter a little bit more because right now this is so plush that you might not even appreciate the length that it has because that's so fruit forward, and it's like um, pretty pretty muscular and intense. And so somewhere around year 10, things have really kind of become sedated and put into a place that will probably mean the wine hasn't necessarily peaked, but probably will not change as much at that 10-year mark for a while. I'm talking about Cabernets, I'm talking about high tier Cabernets, things that are really built for the cellar. And I think that this wine's best moments are from year 10 till about year 20. And then after 20 years, then it kind of comes down to how you like to drink your wine because the freshness truly does start to diminish. But what you're left with is more like you going from fresh meat to something that's been stewed and, has been really, kind of cooked over time. The time is the cooking element. And so you start to unravel the all this complexity, and you're not tasting a fruit bomb anymore. You're now tasting something that's really about that minerality and the place and the other stuff. So at some point you find this enjoyable spot, and some people really like them young. That's this that you go to a restaurant today, people aren't necessarily waiting to open their 21 and their 20s and their 19s. And some people will say, okay, this wine's better, going to be better for us on another time, another moment, and let's drink something that's been in the cellar for a while and put that one away. So the long short answer there was you've got this, you know, this time layout where you can pick what type of wine you want to drink, whether it be more fruit oriented or more seasoned, developed, mineral rich, and and I think you can start to presuppose that that type of wine starts to appear after 10 years. Those first 10 years, it's still youthful and it's still losing its baby fat and it's, growing up and getting wiser. After that 10-year mark, then you're into the college years and starting to get a little bit more academic and, keeps refining. And those are all the ways to kind of the parallels to kind of think with wine. Uh, I hope I answered your question. Just find the spot where you're comfortable, but you would not be thought poorly of if you drank this very near term. It's very acceptable. Moving on to wine number 3. Oh, still got a couple more photos here. The view from the hill. And here's our 2021 Amoenus. $205. You'll have a discount code that you can apply towards these wines, whether it's one bottle or more. And your code should work on just about everything on the website tonight until midnight on Thursday. So if any of these capture your imagination, that's a 10% discount. It's a pretty large discount on a bottle of wine that's $200. And almost impossible to get, by the way. The Maybach wines are very allocated. My store, I love selling wine. It is not a collection, it is a selection. I'm here to sell it. But we have, I believe, about 10 bottles of that Maybach. And, uh, I'm ready to sell that and move into the next vintage. And that's what we're supposed to do around here. Hi, Brian. Thank you. Yeah, Richard, you have a number of 94s, 97s. Fantastic point. I just did a Robert Mondavi uh, single vineyard To Kalon 25-year vertical going back to 1983. And there is a point in that arc that you could probably find and say, that's where I like the wine. I don't like it as old as 83. And, 2018 is still a little young. So everything in the 90s was magical, to be honest. The 90s wines were really in perfect spot. The 80 wines were pretty dusty, and I'm speaking in generalizations. Some of those early 2000 wines are really entering some magnificent stages. Now, I need to interject one more point here, is that somewhere in the late 1970s, the way we made Cabernet in California changed pretty drastically. Back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, the model was absolutely Bordeaux. We were picking with the same mindset. We were bottling with the same mindset that the wine was to be bottled and aged. The consumer said, no, thank you. I want you to make the wine so that I can buy it and start to drink it. And in California, with all of our sunshine, maybe we don't need to make wines that require 10 years of age to start to sell them. Let's give this business a chance. And so some of those powerful, levers were going to work in our winemaking philosophy. And we started to, oh yeah, let's make it a little riper. We saw the alcohol in wine in the 1950s and the 1960s be somewhere around 12%. If you bought a 1960s wine right now at 12% alcohol, the wine would still be pretty purple. Was youthful. It was probably brutal to drink that wine until it was 15 to 20 years of age. And it's still alive and beautiful, but very restrained, like Bordeaux. By the 1990s, we started to really press the ripeness pedal and make some pretty compelling, delicious California style wines. And that is a really important thing to note because, I say stuff like, California is making the best California wine in the world because before we were trying to make Bordeaux. And when you have all these elements together, it works to make it riper. But at some point in time, we probably went a little too ripe and we got almost candy-like with our wines. And some of the successful wines that sell today are very almost candy-like in their ripeness. I don't think we're going to touch that today. You may argue that this Maybach had some riper fruit, but I don't think it's candy-like at all. I think it's got incredible tannins, power, concentration, and deliciousness. And I think all the other wines will avoid that candy-like character at all, which would implicate some residual sugar, etc. That I don't think that these wines achieve that type of marketplace. These are really made for something else. So, with all that being said, let's go into wine number three, which is our Myriad wine. Myriad is they are a Cabernet specialty brand, and they make probably I'm going to guess 16 to 20 different Cabernets every year. 100, 150, 200 cases, small lots. And he blends a lot of his single vineyards together to make other wines. So he is Mike Smith. And this wine is Beckstoffer Dr. Crane, one of the very important vineyards in the Napa Valley, right? It says Dr. Crane, says Napa Valley. I believe it's right in Oakville, um, and very close to Tokelon.
I think it's in St. Helena,
Is this
Dr. Crane.
Dr. Crane St. Helena, Richard?
I believe so.
Well, we're gonna find out. I gotta search it out. Mike Smith, working under Thomas Rivers Brown since 1999. He worked under Thomas Rivers Brown back then. He's become quite the disciple. His scores and reputation are long and noted. Um, Myriad is his baby. He and his wife, they are Myriad. They also have wines that they make for others, such as Perchance and Kindred, that involve other families. So Mike is a gun for hire, as well as making his own wines for Myriad. He has 4 acres of Dr. Crane. Does not tell me on that back label, so I gotta search where Dr. Crane is, and I will.
It's on, I looked it up. It's west of Route 29 in the city of St. Helena.
Great. No doubt Richard knew. 100% Cabernet. That's what Mike does. The aromas here, red fruits, spices, minerals, palette of dark berries, dark plums, fig, tobacco, licorice, crushed gravel. Back to our reference page. Let's give this a swirl. Wine number 3, Myriad, Beckstoffer, Dr. Crane Vineyard. That nose is hypnotic. Beautiful. Wow. These are textbook wines, just super, super top of the food chain brands, winemakers, vineyards, checking all the boxes. Here's the 96-point review of this wine here. Talks about black cherry, earth notes, cinnamon. I really get some blue-toned fruits, blueberry, blackberry. Almost like a blackberry pie. Then you've got kind of those expensive spa aromas, coffee, espresso, cassis, some eucalyptus. The texture. Wow. I just want to remind people, we open these on Monday morning, we put them in these jars. And I really think, in this type of a flight, we're doing the wines a favor. Most times they're better at the show time than they were when I opened them on Monday morning. Hmm. There's some wonderful richness here to the fruit, but feel how that palate dries out because of the acidity, the tannins. That's the magic here is you've really kept the tannins from pulverizing your palate. That's what we used to do. We used to believe that, the wine couldn't have enough tannin and that we thought tannin was the secret of it aging a long time. Well, 30 years later, those really heavy tannin wines that we were making in the early 80s, late 70s, all the fruits kind of minimized and those tannins are still rocking. So they really come off as very like hard, almost bitter, like an over extracted tea. And those are the lessons, wisdom that we gain with time in winemaking. And working with some champions like Thomas Rivers Brown, like Mike Smith. Um, I think you're going to see, these guys are adding up the years and adding up the examples, and they've survived difficult vintages and easy vintages, and they now have the answers to make these things delicious. This wine is spectacular. This 2022 Myriad, beautiful, juicy, but not cloyingly syrupy. It's got this really wonderful fruit element to it. All those things that we just talked about are lifting that. The finish is long and pure and delicious. We're 259 and climbing, by the way. Don't know how much more of this is out there, but I had a number of conversations with Myriad. We were trying to get Mike Smith to be available for us to talk to. We'll do that at a later time. Um, a lot of our Napa Valley friends are out there traveling the world right now, getting ready for the hard work of harvest that's coming down the pipe. This is when they get a little time to themselves. Just a quick commercial before we go into wine number 4. This weekend, I'm starting up some more detailed classes each month. June, July, August. We'll do a deep dive. This month is Tuscany. Next month is France. The month after is Spain. I'm putting a lot of time and effort into the wines and come to the class. If business were back the way it was in 2019 before we closed it down, we're bringing it back. So I'm coming out with some prices to help us fill these classes. This class is $99. And we're opening a $300 bottle of Sassicaia and everything else in the lineup. Take a look at the wine list. It should be selling for closer to $200. I want more people to know about us. I want people to talk about us. So I'm going to be doing these programs all summer for $99, and we're going to open up some crazy stuff. So if you know anybody that would love that, send them to learnaboutwine.com, check out the wine list, and have them join us. Yeah, this bottle kit for this Zoom was over $100. The bottle kit was about $1,300. Moving into wine number 4. Any questions, any comments? Thanks for all the chat, guys. I love seeing it. And it's great just for our people that are involved in this, Zoom activity. We have lots of different references and lots of opinions here. A lot of great palettes on this Zoom. Stephanie and Paul and Brian and Mr. Morris, thank you all for joining us so often. Richard, for your wisdom, love it. Please continue, and let's move into our next great story. About a year ago, I got invited to lunch with the Tesseron family. They own a brand in Bordeaux called Ponte Canet. The daughter was here, and I thought we were going to a Ponte Canet lunch, but the daughter's in charge of introducing their new brand called Pym-Rae. Tesseron, if I mispronounced that, Tesseron family. They are up in Mount Veeder, and this is a pretty historic property. This property was owned by comedian Mork from Ork. Do you remember? And he unfortunately passed a few years ago, and the family was still in residence. The vineyards were named after his kids, Pym and Ray. And when the Tesseron family bought the property, they kept the name that the family gave to the vineyards, Pym and Ray. Now, there's another dimension to this story. Robin Williams was very good friends with Christopher Reeves. And this property was fully adapted to house and take care of Christopher Reeves. And when the Tesseron family walked in, the main room of this estate had this magnificent sculpture. I have to leave our slideshow to kind of show you their website for Pym-Rae. And this is the sculpture. It was hanging from the ceiling in the middle of the room, and it was a sculpture dedicated to Christopher Reeves from the movie Superman, where he tried to fly so fast that he reversed time. And that was a powerful thing for Christopher Reeves, who unfortunately became a paraplegic and a tragedy, but did some amazing stuff with the life that he had, the long life that he had as a paraplegic, and did some amazing stuff. And so it's a really beautiful story. So when the Tesseron family bought the estate, they asked about the artwork, and they treasured it, and they use it as the primary logo on the bottle. The Christopher Reeves flying backwards on time is the bottle. So beautiful, beautiful story. Robin Williams' kids, names still on the property. I just want to click on that, make sure I got that 100% correct. The middle names of his kids. Pym-Rae. Okay. So there you go. The property was originally known as Villa Cereso, Villa of Smiles. And there is a picture of a senior who lives in Bordeaux. And here he is with the two kids, and Justine is in charge of the Napa property. There's a picture of Michel Roland, if you've never seen a picture of Michel Roland, and also their winemaker, Jerome Ledy. Let's taste this wine together, see what you guys think. Mount Veeder is amazing site, and there's a lot of great history. I have a friend, Aaron Pott, who I go and visit his property at the top of Mount Veeder, and we drive through a cemetery to get to his property that has, 1700s, 1800s, and so there's a lot of history in Mount Veeder. The nose here is incredible. And I do think this wine is also benefiting from being a 2019. 80% Cabernet, 15 Cab Franc, 5 Merlot. They would love for me to send you there. Any of the producers that I'm talking about here. If you want to go to the Napa Valley, you want to go somewhere else, let me introduce you, please. I'd love to take credit for the incredible quality of the people that we get to do business with, sending them to these estates. You'll walk in there as ambassadors for us, and they will love you. And they invite me to send people to them all the time. Pym-Rae is certified organic and biodynamic. These are ethos that the family carry with their Ponte Canet wine in Bordeaux as well. Back to our varietal standard. Get your nose in that glass. Now remember, this family has a French winemaker, a French wine consultant, and French ownership, and their references are Bordeaux. This wine tastes like it's going to age for 2 lifetimes. It is really beautifully structured and has a much more assertive level of tannin. This one got 100 points by Wine Independent, who is a master of wine. She was the editor of Robert Parker's Wine Advocate. She started the Wine Independent. She worked there for a couple of years and just recently left to do her own website called The Wine Palette. So we have many more references coming in, scoring wines. Her vernacular, her acumen, her amazing writing is really appreciated. I love her reviews. Deep purple, black colored. It requires a fair bit of swirling before it charges out of the gate with bold notes of creme de cassis. And I think that's a really wonderful distinction here. Instead of just like black currant, we're getting the creme de cassis, black cherry compote, blueberry pie, followed by suggestions of clove oil, lilacs, licorice, tar, plus a spicy waft of cumin seed. The full-bodied palate delivers beguiling energy from the brightness of the fruit, bursting with fragrant floral notes, minerally sparks, exotic spices, and has a taut backbone of invigorating acidity, which is what we were commenting about earlier, matched by firm, ripe, grainy tannins, supporting an epic, long, multi-layered finish. Written like an MW. We're at $3.60 a bottle. I can get more. It's a great story. It will age beautifully for a long time. The prices can be in excess of $400. But we keep our prices a little tighter here, and then you get the 10% off. It'll probably be the best price in the marketplace by the time you take 10% off anywhere. And remember, you're also in Los Angeles, you get free delivery. There's so many crossovers with this wine between this and Bordeaux. And I really think, that is wonderful to see, because they brought that Bordeaux quality, and man, no brand in Bordeaux has been knocking it out of the park better than Ponte Canet over the last 10 years. There are a lot of good ones, but Ponte Canet has just gone from being something that we talked about to being one of the best over the past 10 years. So they really have their game on. Things are cooperating here. The vineyard has had some wonderful age, which is what they were looking for. And that's been a challenge for the French, because they like to work with vines that are 20, 30, 40, 50 years old if they can. And so being able to buy a mature vineyard was really a coup for them, and part of the secret of their efforts. It is a small vineyard, and Pym-Rae will remain a small brand, but they just want to have something that allows them to diversify, to be involved in the Napa Valley, and as an international brand, that makes a lot of sense. We're moving into wine number 5. I see some chats before I go there, so let's see what we thought. And what do you guys think? Stephanie, I heard say very good. William, you agreed with me about the kind of the Bordeaux. That word restrained, I thought so too until I looked. It's 15 alcohol on this wine, so we're just talking about bigger pieces of information, well balanced. I had no idea that wine had 15% alcohol. Does not carry it that way at all. In fact, I think everything's in really wonderful proportion there. But there's that's some big flavors, some mountain energy going on, and lots of acidity for sure, Paul. I agree. And kind of that same idea will move forward into our 5th wine this evening. This is a really special treat. This was one of the top 100 wines. I think it was the number 1 wine last year. I'm not sure which publication it was. Maybe we'll find out as we look through the slideshow. But this was quite an accomplishment. And being able to get some took a while, but we broke down the walls. We got a little bit, just a few bottles. But the relationship is good, and I'm sure I'll be able to get some more if it's still around. Vine Hill Ranch is the name of the property, and they sell a lot of fruit to a lot of people. but this is their wine. We're talking about Oakville. We're talking about Western Oakville, because Oakville does stretch from west to east. You got Screaming Eagle over here, and we're over here underneath Harlan, um, and the amazing neighborhood, Oakville. Owned by Bruce and Heather Phillips, 70 acres of vines. The ancestry of winemaking traces back to 1884. But the Phillips got engaged there in the family got engaged there in the 1970s. They got Grower of the Year in 2011. You'll see a number of different iterations of Vine Hill Ranch. This is 100% Cabernet. Hints of menthol, dark chocolate, licorice, cinnamon sticks, violets. Back to our definition as we go to taste and explore. Purple, dense. Ooh, that nose. Wow. I'm going to ask you guys to pick your favorite nose of the night, because all these great wines had very different noses. This is a wine made by Francois Pichon. That's her. And Mike Wolf is the vineyard manager. And these are the Phillips to the right. That's the way we're looking. So a little bit of slope, looking across the Napa Valley from the west side to towards the east side, across Oakville. I've got some more to look at, but this is at $319. I think I've got their beautiful website. They got a really nice website. Each year they take a picture of the leaf, kind of showing maybe some stress and some characteristics of the vintage, although interpreting that might be up to the eyeball. Let's see what else I can show you guys here. Oh, there you go. It's a cool little map so you can see Amoenus, and probably we're looking, I think that's the vineyard right there, number 1, that we're working with on this one. So again, $320 on this baby. And let's talk about it. Brian says, wow, that's tannic. My teeth are dissolving. I'm not sure. uh, There's definitely some different textures here, some different ideas. This is, I think, a little bit more elegant in some ways, but those tannins are pretty chewy. But the lift in the nose here is so magnificent. I'm I'm very much in love with the nose on this last wine. I think it does have a little bit different personality in the mouth, and you can pick which one you prefer. Nose, mouth. Maybe put it in the chat. Just tell me nose, which one you liked best, and mouth, which one you like the best. And I think we'll get some different answers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 1 was our Washington wine. Number 2 was the Maybach. Number 3 was the Myriad. Number 4 was the Pym-Rae. Number 5, VHR Vine Hill Ranch. 1 for Paul with the nose, and 3 with the mouth. Very good. I kind of like your style there, Paul. That number 3, that texture that he had on that Beckstoffer Dr. Crane was pretty freaking magical. Made me want to go right back in for more.
It's a great vineyard.
Yeah, for sure. We got a tie. Chrissy said 2, 3 on the mouth, and the nose was number 4. Cool. 2, 3. So Maybach and Myriad, and 4 the Pym-Rae for the mouth or nose. Okay, I'm sorry. Mouth was 2 and 3. Nose was 4. Cool. Brian, overall, you liked Myriad the best with Sky Down in second. Very cool. Stephanie, 5 for the nose and mouth. Ooh, you gave it all to the French lady. I appreciate that very much. I think number 5, if I were to oversimplify things, number 5 to me is the most like classic Napa Valley cab. I think to me it had that dusty bench type of quality in the nose. And you can almost smell the tannins right behind the dust there. Just super classic Napa Valley. Man, that makes my mouth water just smelling that wine. But they all had like little different volume knobs, and I love seeing the fact that all these great people on this Zoom, almost everybody picked a different wine, and that says a lot. That's good news. If we had one wine just lopsided and they were all top scoring, and I hope you see too, a reviewer's 100-point wine maybe not as enjoyable at this moment. It's kind of like they're measuring all these different things and they're giving it 100 points, but maybe at this moment a wine that's got a little bit more from a riper vintage like 22, or from another place like Washington, just kind of comes in a little differently, and we receive that information differently and process it differently. And that's why I love tasting like this, being able to compare, contrast, have references. We could have spent tonight just drinking one big glass of one wine and talked about it in detail, but to be able to go across all these different greats and champions, I feel like I've really gained a lot from being able to do that. Hey, I don't get to do this very often. I really don't. I get to do it more than most people, and it's still not very often. And I've never tasted these 5 next to each other. So really cool to be able to do that. When I was presented Vine Hill Ranch, I tasted it on one day, I don't know, 6 months ago, whatever. And it was the only wine I probably tasted that day. And the Pym-Rae was almost a year ago. I haven't been able to taste it since. So really fun to be able to get these wines in my mouth and to be reminded. I hope you will use the discount. You don't have to even buy a single bottle of any of these wines, but use the discount for some house wine and get something for the cabinet, gifts, 4th of July, some bubbles, got some rosé coming up. got some great Zooms coming at you too. I want to just visit the site and just tell you about a couple of things that we have coming down, as we always do. And I want to just keep the kind of the sequence of excellence going. We had a really great Zoom not all that long ago with my friend Gil, and he brought me some really different stuff. So we're tasting a whole new set of wines from Mexico. I think you're going to be really impressed. We'll start off with one of my favorites, Casa de Piedra, and we'll be going through. And this Acrate is one of the best-selling wines of the year last year, because when I introduce it to people, they freak out, and we still have a bunch of 21, and we're still able to get a bunch of 21. And then we're going to taste this $80 Anclados, which is gorgeous wine from a totally different part of Mexico. Viñas Plata from Guadalupe, a Tempranillo blend, and a Cabernet from Baja. So join us. It's a really nice list, really top stuff. I think you'll be very impressed. And Gil is going to have a lot of these winemakers on the Zoom live with us. So that's a special treat whenever we can do that. I'm going to go back and just talk about Sauvignon Blanc. July 9th, we're going to have a nice warm July. So a little bit of refreshing Sauvignon Blanc from all over the world. A really nice set. Take a look at those scores. I think you'll be very impressed. This is my way of kind of pulling together a bunch of wines that I've really enjoyed that are kind of misfits from all over the planet. I've also had to make a little bit of a change to the lineup because we did sell out of a wine that's no longer available. So kind of retooled this a little bit, but same high quality. Starting off with a Chocolina, which I think is really a fun wine for your summer enjoyment. If you have never had one, wait till you try those. We just went to Bordeaux and stayed at Smith-O Lafitte. This brand is on fire, and we're going to taste the brand new 23. This is one of a teeny little brand from Italy that you're going to love called Tenuta San Francisco. And they're making some really amazing wines from Campania. This wine is really beautifully refreshing, crisp, and dry, and it should be on everybody's table over the summer. The new vintage from Calabretta. One of my favorite visits of all time was when I went to Sicily, and the wines of Mount Etna continue to take a larger and larger portion of my life. This is their current release, 2015. We got to try it together. So good. Tonight we tasted a wine from Washington. Todd Alexander made that wine. Todd Alexander makes this one too. Force Majeure. This is the $60 kinder, gentler Washington wine that you will love. I'm just people are really loving this wine. I took it out to dinner the other night. It's $60. It's a wine I can open often, and it rewards you. It's juicy and delicious. You'll love it. And I just took a big chunk of wine with an opportunity that came to me from Storybrooke. I got to tell you the story of Storybrooke on the Zoom. This guy is just old school. He's an older gentleman now, but he is really a tough dude, and he has been making Zin up in northern Napa Valley for a long time on his estate, and always a treat. And the fact that he's selling 2021 and needed a little bit of help, so he created buy a bunch of it and you get a great price. This is like $15-20 less a bottle than it was 6 months ago. So it's a great deal, and it's a beautiful mountain Zinfandel for $30. So we'll have a really fun lineup to go through, and we continue out with some wonderful themes, spreading it out. Some rosé, some Pinot. The Pinots I'm going to open up are ridiculous. The Chardonnays as well. I will say the Chardonnay Zoom's getting a little expensive at $44, but click in and see why, because I'm opening up some top stuff. 97 points, 95 points, 97, 93, 91. This is a really, really great Chardonnay Zoom. So we'll continue all the way. We're building out September, October, November. Everything in August should be available to you right now, and we'll keep them rolling. And with your support, we'll keep having success. And we thank you very much for being here tonight with us. It's really a pleasure to do this with you guys and to see you all, and to have my first place Dodgers doing so well. I feel very good. Those Giants got a great new player, but we're very happy that the Dodgers are actually rising to the occasion at this moment. And I hope you all enjoy some baseball, some barbecue, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
A lot of fun, and thanks a lot. Great time to taste some really wonderful wines.
It
Thank
was
you, Ian.
great to taste with you guys. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks, Ian.
Bye.